back and good evening viewers and welcome to the Limit Racing. You've watched the qualifying and now it's time for the main event. As you know, your commentary team tonight is myself, Bidley, along with TJ of 1992 on co-commentary this evening. Home of the USA Grand Prix since 2012, the Circuit of the Americas is the Marmite of F1 tracks, loved by some and hated by the rest. This home and Tokyo designed 5.5-kilometre circuit will certainly favour those drivers using the wheel today, with a tight and technical sector one, reminiscent of the Maggots and Heckin's Complex providing a track limit challenge for drivers today. The two DRS zones down the long straights will provide plenty of overtaking opportunities in this main race. I'm joined tonight by TJM, as I mentioned. Good evening once again, TJ. It's been a while since qualifying. Thanks to whoever readied up early. Very much for that. It's a full grid and our first ever competitive race in TTL tonight. Fresh off the back of qualifying, of course, TJ, on that basis. And from what we've seen in qualifying so far, who are we tipping to do well in the race tonight?
Oh, I mean, any of these guys in the top 10, and we saw Tiddlewinker didn't manage to set his lap in Q3, but we know he's got pace. Revenge Zilla as well. We know he can improve. We've got Junior Vane, Brad Mason, Drobel. All them guys could be challenging for at least the top step here if he can catch Object Fungus. I mean, if Object Fungus keeps it clean, he's obviously going to be the clear winner. But yeah, I mean, any of these guys in the top 10 could really show us. And also a shout out to Maggots and P15, who we know has normally got decent racecraft, so we'll see what he can do and cut through the field, and perhaps he can make his way up to the podium as well.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be able to find his way back through the field. And as Object Fungus, as we've already mentioned on pole, then for the main race now, as you can see on the left-hand side, 4 drivers choosing the hard compound of Thailand, so we'll look to go longer into this race than the rest as that Mercedes lines neatly into its starting box. Then the field not very spread out, fortunately for the front drivers on the grid. See a couple of disqualifications for out of grid box starts, then they'll be punished a few meters back rather than they should be, as Sniz then brings up the rear of the field. A full grid for the first ever Division 1 race. We are about to get lights out, hopefully. Here we go. 4 lights, 5 lights. It's done the glitch again.
Fantastic.
But there we go, and we are away then, up the hill, into turn 1. Object Fungus gets a great start. We've got a terrible camera angle here, though. We'll look on Livs, who's going to look to make a move down the inside, though. But Drobel, around the outside, finds the traction to go around the Aston Martin driver then, into P2. From him as Drobel spins and collects his teammate then, and Drobel is out. Drobel out. At turn 2, it's a full track yellow virtual safety car for now. A couple of 5-second time penalties as well for drivers colliding one another. But Drobel then round, collecting his teammate TJ. Brad Mason, has he got any damage to that front wing?
I am just trying to see, and I can't get a camera angle to check it out currently. He visually doesn't have any damage, but we know what this game's like, where visually drivers don't have damage, but you can feel it. I'd be very surprised if he hasn't any damage in that Red Bull, to be honest. And a quick shot off some penalties as well. So we've seen Maggots eventually on down the Hardy will pick up time penalties. I do believe this is a glitch in the game where collisions happen as the VSC gets called. Unfortunately, Bidley does know about this from previous race last week.
No idea what you're talking about.
But yeah, I think it's very unfortunate. I don't think there were 5-second time penalties at all, but I think it's a nasty glitch in the game currently, as Dan Hardy also picks up drive-through penalty.
Yeah, Dan Hardy with a drive-through penalty. I think it was for something to do with yellow flags, I think I saw early on, so he'll have to come in and serve that now. Then the virtual safety car back in, of course, if we can get underway. Big snap there from Johnny Vane, but collects it through the final corner. No surprise to see Object Fungus leading the way then at the end of lap 1, but Johnny Vane making up places, and we can see just how many places now, up from 5th to 2nd. And that's great from the McLaren driver, who perhaps had a slightly disappointing Q3 compared to the pace he thought he might have had in the race, and now can look to try and cement that podium position early on then in this race. Of course, running the medium tyres, then one of the 4 not to be. Lots of drivers in the pits there, Mag User, Darth Grey Fox, and Henker's all pitting then, supposedly, I imagine, for repairs at this point, TJ. And what can they do from here now having to pit after the first lap?
I mean, Mike user looks like he's coming to serve his time penalty. I couldn't see change the front wing, but put the hard tyres on, so I think he's going to try to push the end here, which could be doable. I think Darth and Mike user in decent position to, but Henkers is coming, got a new front wing, and decides to put soft tyres on, so the Aston Martin driver needs a safety car to really pull himself back into this and point back on a strategy that matches the rest of the grid.
Yeah, tyre wear around here slightly higher than you would expect. Those soft tyres will grain up very quickly, but we'll be hoping then to just do one more stop then till the end of the race, I imagine, from here. But it's a tall order on those soft tyres, even though we have had now a couple of laps in this race. Subject from this end leads us on to lap 3 with a fastest lap though, but Johnny Vane takes that fastest lap, 37.9 from him. Then he's keeping up with the Mercedes at the moment. Of course, DRS will only be enabled on this lap. And how far do you think Johnny Vane can push Object Fungus here, considering the pace difference we saw between the 2 drivers in qualifying?
Well, at the moment, based on what's happening, you could only imagine Object Fungus is trying to perhaps do some tyre saving, perhaps extend his medium stint out, and it's something we've seen from Object Fungus where he'll try and extend his stints out and perhaps put a set of softs on towards the end, so perhaps Object is doing a bit of that tyre saving already, trying to get these mediums go the distance a little bit longer than perhaps some of the other drivers would. But he'll be keeping a very close eye on that Delta to not pull Johnny Vane into his DRS.
Yeah, definitely. 1.2 seconds now the gap then. And can Johnny Vane get within that DRS window that we speak so fondly of, as it is such an advantage around this circuit, especially down this straight right here just after turn 11 then. One driver that has had a fantastic start this race. He might have had a little bit of a disappointing Q3, but Tiddlewink then up to P4, all over the back of Brad Mason now in the Red Bull for that P3 position then. So Tiddlewink looking strong in the opening stage of this race, TJ.
Yeah, fantastic from the Alfa Romeo driver. Obviously, very good that instance up and around the first couple of corners, and really it benefited the Alfa Romeo driver. And it doesn't surprise me seeing running P4 currently the pace we saw in qualifying, and with DRS now active, I wonder how quick the Alfa Romeo driver can dispatch the Red Bull and start putting some pace between him and the drivers. There's many crash coming through the final set of corners, and we've got a safety car.
Yeah, safety car out on track, and it hasn't picked up the leader, so we'll go around another lap in the hope that it picks up Object Fungus. But those people that keenly watch the Italian Grand Prix at the weekend know that might be slightly more difficult than you would expect, but hopefully the game knows what it's doing. And Dan Hardy then into the pits now to change tyres. This, of course, brings those drivers back into the contention then. So Mag User, Dan Hardy, Henkers, Darth Grey Fox, that all had to pit early on, now back in the running at the tail of the field. Well, eventually anyway. But disappointing from Mini there off the penultimate corner. Looks like he's gone round and hit the inside wall. Mini is mainly a Division 2 driver, filling in tonight as he wanted to give his hand at Division 1. Not done too badly in qualifying, TJ, but he was disappointed with that in the race there.
Yeah, definitely. He definitely shouldn't be disappointed in himself. He had a fantastic quality, showed some decent pace against some of his Division 1 drivers. And based on the pace he showed, he could be a real challenger in Division 2. So wait and see what Mini can produce tomorrow when the Division 2 races. But yeah, it's really safe cars. This really benefits these guys on the medium tyres, and doesn't really help the guys on the hard tyres currently.
Yeah, those ones on the mediums will benefit then from running those slightly longer into the race. And I know it is possible with a few safety cars to perhaps think about doing the medium to soft strategy then. So we'll see if anyone decides to play that gamble, though. Obviously, the field is a bit spread out at the moment, so we might have a couple more laps behind the safety car here. Then straight to the Twitch chat, we've got Mini then saying that he didn't get a setup sorted properly, so he had a massively loose back. I know a few people with a massively loose back, but Mini, you're not usually one of them. But hopefully you can get that resolved then for the race tomorrow if you are able to take part. Then we've got Jimmy Dog then, who's followed on a second account saying that he's desperate to see the Milk Shoey. Thanks for that, Jimmy Dog, as it popped up on stream early on. Drobel says, did he get hit from behind on the start? I don't think it looked like to us he got hit from behind. Potentially,
No,
though. That's what he thinks.
I think it just like the rear end just slipped on him a little bit, to be honest, and it just powered him through and collected his teammates, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate. Luckily for Red Bull, at least one of them came away from that scrap and looked like they got away with it. Brad Mason carrying on then in P3. It'll be interesting to see if he has to pit for repairs on his pit stop then. And Diamond, I think, disappointed about his quali pace. Gopher's in the chat. Nice to see you again, Gopher. Looking forward to seeing you race tomorrow. Cheering on his boy, Object Fungus. Out in front at the moment, as I've already mentioned, TJ, but being very much kept true by John Uvain, who has made 3 places up from the start. Then Tiddlewink up 6, as I've already said. Diamond Douchey then having a better race than qualifying, joining his Alpine then on the road, just behind his teammate in P7. Seneco up 9 as well. I know he was disappointed with his qualifying, but he's made some good places up here and runs in the points at the moment. Then it'll be a good time to look at the tyres that drivers are on as well. Then so Jock and Hoonigan still running those hard tyres in 6th and 8th. So drivers around them will be wanting them to get ahead of them. And just as I say that, Hoonigan into the pits then. And this will be interesting to see what tyres he goes for here.
Yeah, that surprised me, so we'll wait to see if he gets a wing change here. I think... No, he's going for the mediums to the end, so... Trying to ask them to go for 22 laps is a big ask here, I personally think.
Yeah, very bold there from the Haas driver, followed out by Sniz, who looks like he's going to try and go hard till the end, so that could be a crafty move from the AlphaTauri then to avoid pitting later on. As I have prepared on stream, I thought this might happen tonight with the safety car. So I did prepare this earlier. As you can see, this is the driver lineup for those that haven't seen it already so far. We had the driver draw yesterday, of course, so for those drivers a little bit confused by some of the teams that they're seeing tonight. We have got reserves filling in for some of these full-time drivers. But TJ, obviously, we know what happened with the driver draw yesterday, and obviously focusing more on Division 1 right now. From what we've seen so far, at least, in terms of qualifying and the race, out of those pairings, the full-time teams, who are we thinking has got a strong chance for that Constructors?
I mean, obviously, you've got to put Mercedes up there with Object Fungus and Shadows. No Shadows have got a pace, so they're obviously going to be one of the favourites as well. As expected, Junior Vane, obviously his teammate isn't here Ethan, but Junior Vane showing some fantastic pace already as well. And he was one of the favourites to pull out pre-stream. And you've also got the likes of Hoonigan and the Haas Maggies. If them two can work together as well, they could do some real damage. And the Aston Martin pairing as well. I think any team there personally in Division 1 stands a really good chance based on what we've seen.
Yeah, very good lineups all round in Division 1. I don't really see any team there really that's a bit overpowered compared to the rest. So each driver offering them can definitely challenge for the title this season. As you might have seen in the background there, safety car is in this lap. Object Fungus is now backing the pack up then. And can he catch John Uvain off guard here off the final corner? Looks like that McLaren wants to get as close to the back of the Mercedes as possible, but he hasn't managed to get as close as he wanted to. And Brad Mason then looks like he's trying to get a turn off the back of the McLaren into turn 1, but no driver there, looking like they're going to make a move up the hill. And they run status quo then, the top 10, no one changing positions. I don't think anyone changed positions in the entire field, TJ. What a civilised restart we've had there.
Yeah, that was nice to see from Division 1 drivers, keeping nice and civilised, perhaps just giving each other a bit of space. It is our first proper safety car restart, so drivers try and suss each other out potentially. As we get our first proper track limits warning to Darth Grey. Obviously for Sector 1 it's really easy to cut over track limits, and I think we are expecting a few more drivers to pit up as the race progresses.
Yeah, very easy to do through that first sector, as you said, and yeah, I would not be surprised to see further penalties down the line then. We're currently riding with Brad Mason still, and to the wing the battle for second at the moment as Object tries to get that gap back out to a second up in front. And at the moment then, Object Fungus doing all he needs to do to try and claim his first win in TTL. But as I mentioned, these three very much keeping him honest so far. This fight, TJ, we saw it in qualifying, the gap between those places, second and eighth place, very much close in that final part of qualifying, and we're seeing it in the race here as well, aren't we? Even I know we just had the safety car, but in terms of pace, they're all very evenly matched at the moment.
Yeah, they are. It's fantastic to see, and it's if it stays like this throughout the rest of the season, it's going to be really hard to call. Obviously, Jimmy Vane being kept very honest. Sorry, Jimmy Vane. Albert Funk's being kept very honest currently, and not. I know he's pulled that second gap to Jimmy Vane, but he's not exactly pulling away from the grid. Yeah, this is really interesting and close to see, as I've just been witnessing some really good battling between Hoonigan and Dan Hardy, but Hoonigan now has got the move done on Dan Hardy and Revengula into turn 1.
Yeah, so Revengula then up to 14th after his early mishap in the opening part of the race on the hard tyres. Now, yellow flag out, and just as you say that, TJ, Dan Hardy then out of the race in the middle of those S's complex in Sector 1, and he'll be disappointed to be out, TJ. As you said, he was looking very competitive and racy amongst his fellow drivers.
Yeah, shame for the McLaren driver there, but very much disappointed in his showing. He looked like he had some great racecraft and caught up in a few incidents, but it'll be interesting to see what he can do next week. As I am just going to quickly have a laugh at Jimmy Dog, who was wanting Zilla to win, and any of you that tuned in for the driver draw yesterday should know by now, when Jimmy Dog says he wants something, he doesn't get it. So Jimmy Dog is definitely just on an unintentional Twitch curse to Revengula.
Yeah, definitely. Every time Jimmy Dog wants something to happen, it doesn't. So yeah, do not be surprised to see Revengula not winning this race from 14th at the moment then. DRS now enabled, of course, second lap after the safety car then, so drivers will have the assistance of that rear wing opening, and Johnny Vane is just inside that DRS at the moment, which is what he needs to do, and he needs that advantage to keep up with the pace of that Mercedes. And it's the first time, TJ, after the update today, that I'm getting a look then at the new Ferrari livery in the game. I know it's here for a short amount of time, but it's not bad, is it? It's all right. It's not massively impressive, but
I mean, I think you can make it look better, but I do like the yellow going down the back of the Ferrari. I mean, I think they definitely could have done it better.
Yeah, I like the rear wing. The Ferrari bit on it, that's nice. That's about it. But there we go. The reason I say that is because we're on board then with Seneca, who's got shadows behind him, looking to get the move done then into turn 12, round the outside of the Ferrari then. Can he hang it with the traction? And he does indeed, and Shadows then up to P7 for now then. Can Seneca keep his foot in it? Probably knows that fight is done and tucks back in behind the Mercedes then.
Yeah, as Hoonigan... Junior Vane's dropped it going around the triple right-hander.
Oh dear. Johnny Vane was running P2 then, and as we said, keeping Object very true for the win today. Having a moment then pushing to try and keep up with the Mercedes. rejoins in 8th place. He's not out of the points. He's definitely not out the running for a podium, but a massive blow, TJ, to his race today.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely wouldn't want to be doing that now. Luckily, he hasn't taken any damage or taken any drivers out with his mishap. But yeah, comes up P8 and back of this little bit of DRS training. Given the pace he was showing, perhaps he can pull himself back through. But this does release Brad Mason now, and we'll wait to see if the Mercedes driver can pull and try and get into the range of Object Fungus. But he has got to drop Tiddlewink and Lewis that are just honest, well, keeping them honest as well, to be honest.
Yeah, lives as well all over the back of Tiddlewink then, so it looks like he's found a little bit more pace compared to the Alfa Romeo, and back inside that DRS as we said, but Tiddlewink also getting the advantage of that DRS then off Brad Mason. Ahead of him at the moment then Diamond as well, up to P5, his teammate Jock now down in P12, having a moment then on the safety car restart. There's battling going on all the way at the back. CJ Mag User, you said, was going to be good in the race on pace. He's just got past Seneco then, and he's into P8 now.
Yeah, Seneco's a nightmare through DRS zone 2 and lost 2 places to Junior Vane and Mag User. Junior Vane went through first, Mag User followed through. It's been a fantastic race for Mag User currently, and yeah, as you mentioned, he's showing his racecraft here and using Junior Vane to pull him along now.
Yeah, so Johnny Vainen looking to recover after his early spin from P2 back up to P7. Then let's look at the gaps to the leader at the moment, if we can find it. There we go. And he's now 8.7 seconds off Object then. So despite that spin, only losing then about 7 seconds compared to where he was on the Mercedes, and so still can look to push on for a podium. As we've mentioned, 4 drivers with that 3-second time penalty at the moment. Sniz, Darth Grey Fox, AIM RX and Shadows as well. Else we've got a yellow flag out in Sector 3, and I think it is for Sniz then, who's had a moment. Him and his teammate P16 and 17. He's not cooled them tyres down at all, and he's now running in 53 seconds off the lead of this race.
Yeah, disappointing for Alpha Tory boys. Eventually, I did pit last lap to set soft on, so perhaps picked the damage up. Although it is going someone else in the wrong car there. Yeah, so it's been a caution for Alpha Tory boys, but we both know they've got pace, so the safety car pumps back into this is Hoonigan, who pit on the medium tyres under the safety car. Driving himself back up to P9 and is flying, it's pretty much flying for the pack currently. But I do worry how quick pushing them tyres are really getting to the end.
Yeah, fired up all mediums at the moment for Hoonigan, then P9 on the road just behind his teammate. Will his teammate wave him on by on those hard tyres, or will he keep him on his rough fight in this race? And I don't think he'll get those medium tyres till the end. Yellow flag out now as Seneco then into the pit. I think he impeded someone in doing that because the gap between Hoonigan and AIM RX has grown a little bit then, and Seneco into the pit for the hard tyres without a front wing as well then, and will surely now look to go till the end of the race. But that change of that front wing does not help him at all, and he was held in the box there as well, but on his way at last. And yeah, looks like he's had an instant then, I think, with AIM RX, his teammate even, and there's a bit of a gap now between P9 and P10 and 11.
Yeah, there was I think better off Jock managed to get moved on to Team 1 and AIM did try and fight it back, but damage was done by his teammate, I think. So that's a shame for car drivers. I think by another incident with an Alpha Toy for found the corner, but he managed to correct himself. But there's a fantastic battle currently happening for P2 here. Tiddlewink and Brad Mason pushing each other to the limit. Some fantastic side-by-side race. All this doing as well as pulling Livs into this battle. Livs is just waiting for the opportunity, and all the drivers decide to single file it through the triple right-hander. But you imagine with, at the moment, Livs has got the better VRS as well, so if he times this perfectly, with the other two drivers who've got hardly any Tiddlewink drives in the pits.
Yeah, Tiddlewink follows Brad Mason So Lives is the only one to stay out then, assuming both these drivers and onto the hard tyres till the end of the race. Now then, we've got a few drivers pitting actually. Diamond and Shadows, 2 in the pits. AMRX then in the pit as well. A smooth stop for those drivers, but they've come back out onto the track. Status quo then, with Brad Mason ahead of Tiddlewink once again. Diamond and Shadows behind them. And we've now got 16 laps left till the end of the race. And Johnny Vane then from P4 picking up that 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, well, a shame from the McLaren driver. Obviously, he's done a good recovery. He's back up to P4, and there's obviously been a couple of pit stops in between that. He has got a Hoonigan all over the back of him currently. Hoonigan's on a fantastic race in his mediums, but as mentioned earlier, I do worry how much longer he can continue this pace up in and what sort of tyre condition he's going to have towards the back end of this race as he flies past Jimmy Vane. Perhaps closes the door a little bit aggressively there, but gets the move done. I imagine it's going to be a battle between these two drivers for the next couple of laps now.
Yeah, 3rd and 4th for Haas at the moment though, but we think they're both going to have to stop before the end of the race then, so that's not where they are net at the moment. Those we've just seen those 5 drivers that were ahead into the pits. Johnny Vane goes very wide then on those right tires. Looks like he's struggling on those medium tyres, and as the front 2 now into the pits as well. Then Object Fungus putting the hard tyres on. Lives will surely follow him in doing that then, as he does take a set of hard tyres. So it's Hoonigan then who assumes the race lead for now, then followed by Jock, who's in P2, Object Fungus, and net P1 at the moment, and then Lives in a net P2 then. So Brad Mason, looks like he's been battling with Lives then, and they are battling indeed. Tiddlewink getting involved as well then into turn 1. And what's happened here then, TJ? Lives has just come alive on the hard tyres.
Yeah, he has. I'm not quite sure why that move was done, but he's pulled a fantastic gap to Brad Mason. I imagine Brad Mason was having some issues trying to get his tyres warm or something, I imagine. Just a quick note on Hoonigan and medium tyres. Given what we've seen these front runners do, they only manage about 12-13 laps on them, so it is confirmed Hoonigan will have to pit again, which will drop him quite a bit back here. And you imagine he'll probably have to go on the set of hard to pit that he was on previously. So I'm not quite sure if he's going to play out for this Haas driver.
Well, Tiddlewink gets the move done on Brad Mason then just before turn 12, but Brad Mason leaves it late on the brakes. The Alfa Romeo though keeps it up the inside, and Brad Mason then, yeah, just struggling now on those hard tyres, looking to try and cut back on the Alfa Romeo. Not quite possible there, as he forces Tiddlewink off track though, but will the Alfa Romeo keep his foot in there around the right-handers? And he has done, and he's ahead for now. Fantastic fight. This is for net 3rd place on the road. Of course, we're yet to see Jock, Hoonigan, Henkers and Premier in for their first, well, I should say second pit stop for Hoonigan, first for the other drivers though. And Tiddlewink now looking to get the gap on Brad Mason, who has the DRS wide open then, unable to get close to the back of the Alfa Romeo into turn 1. And all this is doing, TJ, of course, is benefiting Lives at the moment. As I said, in that net P2 at the moment, and he's got a good buffer now back to these pair of over 2 seconds.
Yeah, this is where the Alfa Romeo and the Red Bull driver have to fight each other. I know they're trying to battle for the last podium place, but both these drivers play smart. They can pull each other along and make this through a battle for the final 2 podium places, as it does look like Object Fungus is destined to finish on top. But yeah, these two drivers need to get the head screwed on and really help each other out.
And as we say that off camera, then Object Fungus moves up to P2, getting a pretty easy overtake on Jock then, who's struggling with those 14-lap-old hard tyres now. Brad Mason looking like he's not able to mount a challenge on that Alfa Romeo at the moment. Let's check the battery levels between the two drivers, and pretty comparative at the moment. They're about 15% each as it stands, so no driver with the upper hand over the other. And Tiddlewink then will continue on in P7 for now, then trying to get that gap over a second to Brad Mason to get him out of that DRS. Quickly in the Twitch chat, we've got Nigel Piggle here, TJ, saying £100 to see me do a shoey, what a scam. We should point out, if you read in the middle of the screen, it does say to follow a goal.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to lie, doing a milk shoey doesn't sound pleasing. I mean, anyone that does know Bidley, we've seen him do a shoey previously, and I'm pretty sure it knocked Bidley off his feet for a couple of days due to everything that was consumed.
It wasn't great. But quickly, though, Brad Mason then looks like he's gone into the back of Tiddlewink then. He's without the front wing now, and he's running through the S's through sector 1. So, yeah, not great from Brad Mason, who was running, as we said, in contention for that penalty spot, and now is surely going to need a safety car to get back into this race, TJ. He's down to P12 and on his way into the pit lane.
Yeah, that's a shame for the Red Bull driver. That's his race pretty much over without a safety car. It'd be great to see if we could, obviously not now, but when the driver's finished, we can understand what happened there. But yeah, that's a massive shame for the Red Bull driver, that is.
Yeah, Tiddlewink, who he was racing with, then still in P6 at the moment and doing a stellar job at that as well. Then Object Fungus is nearly on the back of Hoonigan then for P1 on the road. He's pretty much got it anyway. But it'll be nice for him to get ahead of the Haas as soon as possible. Then Sniz now becoming the latest driver to pick up a 3-second time penalty, then down in 17th though. Both AlphaTauri's having a bad day at the office so far, TJ.
Yeah, an absolute shame for him. Ben Shill's he's having a good recovery drive here. He has not, I mean, he was miles behind P15, but he's 9 seconds behind him now. But yeah, I think it's hard to see either driver finishing the point. Yeah, Jimmy Dogg's prediction of wanting Zilla to win was looking very grim indeed.
Yeah. Both AlphaTauri's need a miracle to get back into this one. Brad Mason does make it back to the pit lane then. Looks like it's a set of soft tyres for the Red Bull then. He'll rejoin in P16, I think, because Revengilla looks like he's going to get the better of him as well. So it was going so well for Brad Mason up until that moment. So hopefully he can find his way back into this race somehow, as it's quietened down a little bit on track at the moment following that incident with Brad Mason. So it's now pretty much a fight on the road then for 5th place. That becomes the main fight at the moment, and Livs, Tiddlewink and Mag User, TJ, on a set of medium tyres, 4 lap-old mediums, should get them till the end. And yeah, he's doing a stellar job at the moment.
Yeah, as we got a yellow flag in sector, we're not sure who that was.
But I think it was Livs, who's dropped to P8 then, who was running that net second place. Looks like he's got some kind of problem. He's going very slow indeed. And as he's passed by Shadows there, I think he might have just gone round and perhaps cooling those tyres down. But that's a big shame then for Livs, who was doing so well in the race. And now another driver who is running in the podium places, TJ, who now finds themselves further down the points.
Yeah, I think at this point everyone's just trying to show off and doesn't want a good start. And yeah, they just want to put a show on for everyone. But no, at the moment, I mean, they call it Mag User in P15 running P6 and what effectively P3 on track. What a fantastic drive from the Haas driver currently. We do know tyres will start dropping off probably in the next 5 laps. You imagine you'll see him through comfortably to the end and hopefully hold on to this last podium place.
Yeah, doing a great job at the moment and pushing Tiddlewink all the way as well. Then 10.5 laps left of this Division 1 circuit of the Americas Grand Prix. Then it's round 1, as we said. It's a chance for those drivers to prove themselves ahead of the other 14 races we have in store for this season 1, and a driver that's definitely laying down the gauntlet at the moment. As we've not spoken about it much since she's been leading Object Fungus, TJ, the viewers and some other drivers in this league will know the pace this man has got on this game. and he's certainly knuckled down and looks like he's showing no signs of letting up in TTL.
Yeah, definitely. We saw him flex his muscles in quali in Q3, and yeah, he's built himself a nice gap up here. And yeah, it's going to be a nice, comfortable race then for the Mercedes driver. Never in doubt, really, to be honest. And it is going to take some really fantastic driving to challenge this driver, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. And if Johnny Vane might not have had his instant earlier on, we might have seen a bit more from him and what he could do to challenge Object Fungus, especially in this race, let alone this season. But running P9 at the moment, the McLaren then, and he's looking to get some points back for that McLaren team and with his teammate for this evening anyway, Dan Hardy retiring along with Mini and Drobel, who we saw round at turn 2 then, and collecting his teammate Brad Mason. But that wasn't what caused Brad Mason to be running in P16. An instant between him, I think, and Tiddlewink earlier on means that he had front wing damage and he's now out of the running. And as we see a fight here between Mag User and Tiddlewink, then down into turn 12. Mag User puts those medium tyres to use, TJ, but the problem Mag User's got here is he's still got like 9 laps to go till the end of this race now. Will Tiddlewink's tyres start to come back to him and favour him in this fight for P2 on the road?
Yeah, I think they will definitely. You do imagine that the medium tyres will start dropping off in the next couple of laps and Maguire will start struggling. But I think Maguire might have played this very clever, to be honest, and try and get the early take done, force Tiddlewink to take some power life out of his tyres. And as you see, you can't even catch him on with the DRS wide open through down to turn 1 as Tiddlewink's ERS levels are running low. Maybe Maggie just pulled a fantastic overtake here and will just pull ahead and perhaps give himself that buff he needs when his tyres start going off.
I think you definitely need to get a bit of distance between himself and Tiddlewink now, because those hard tyres, as we mentioned, might start to come back to the Alfa Romeo towards the end of this race in about 8 or 9 laps time then. Henker's out there at the moment, TJ, running P2 on the road, 16-lap-old hard tyres for him in that Aston Martin. Do you think he'll be able to take those tyres till the end, or do you think he'll be in for a set of softs soon enough?
I think it's hard. I mean, we've seen the medium tyres do 12, 13 laps, and obviously the hard tyres normally, I won't say double it, but these are going over 10, 12 laps. So I think it's close. I mean, if he does take him to the end, I hate to see state of tyres, but maybe if he has got a sniff at it, he might come in for a set of softs just to protect himself from potential puncher.
Yeah, well, if he was to pit now, I think he'd pretty much drop outside the points with the gaps on track at the moment. The P3 to P10 then running relatively close on track considering how far we are into this race. Driver that is starting to come back through the field, Hoonigan, then on a fresh set of the soft tyres at the moment, is carrying a 3-second time penalty though. But where can he go from here, TJ, on those soft tyres? Can he find his way into the top 5?
Yeah, he can, but he needs to get them soft tyres to work and get the overtake some shadows. Unless he does look like he's going to move on to shadows in turn 1. Doesn't quite get the exit he needs, so he's going to sit behind shadows coming through the Atties, I think I got camera angle. Yeah, Hoonigan's all over the back of shadows here, and he really needs to try to get moved on as soon as possible. He's pushing shadows through sector 1, and just showing he's got that extra pace advantage, but he needs to clear and get his foot down before these soft tyres start dropping off.
Here he is unable to get the move done, which is surprising considering the tyre advantage much later on the break than the Mercedes. And surely down the straight here, even if they both have that DRS assistance, they'll be much later onto the brakes. And let's see as they come up now down into turn 12. Shadows with slightly more ERS putting it to use as well, but as I said, much later on the brakes from Hoonigan. It'll be inside then of Shadows though, who keeps his foot in and is not giving this place up easily. Then slight wheel banging between the two of them, but good racing all round. And Hoonigan now then goes with a late stamp on the brakes. Big snap though from Hoonigan, and does so well to not collect the Mercedes. And Hoonigan carries on by the skin of his teeth there, TJ. And how close were we to seeing both drivers out of this race?
Yeah, that was very close. Great car control from Hoonigan to, but only really go to bang wheels in the end. But yeah, I think this is just showing the frustration Hoonigan's got currently. He's going to be stuck behind. He's going to try and move them down to turn one. Late on the brakes again. Gets a better exit this time. Can you get it done before they hit the S's? It's going to be very tight between the two drivers here. Someone's got to back out eventually. And it looks like Shallows decided to give that fight off as Hoonigan then picked himself a time penalty up.
Yeah, that means he joins Shadows and Junuvain then both and all with 6 seconds of penalties then, but Hoonigan now finally gets ahead of Shadows and can look to put some distance between himself and the Mercedes, and hopefully for his sake and his race get onto the back of Livs and Diamond Douchey then in 5th and 6th at the moment. He needs to put a 6-second gap on those drivers though to beat them on track, as we see Livs now making a move on Diamond Douchey down the straight into turn 12. This is where we've seen most of the action this evening, and Livs up to P5 then, TJ, as we missed in all that action between those 4 drivers. Mag user then making them pass on track for P2.
Yeah, he did it, and he did it at the back end of turn 12. Just out-braked Hankers. I think them hard tyres on Hankers beginning to drop off as he seems struggling and let Tiddlewink through. Them tyres are really beginning to drop off, and I'm worried to see if he can get them to the end. The only thing he's done here is hold up Tiddlewink, and Magus has now got himself clear air in front of him and behind him. And this is exactly what the Haas driver needed to try and pull the gap before the medium tyres drop off.
Yeah, definitely. And Magus are now a second and a half ahead of Tiddlewink then. 6 laps to go here before the end of the race. It looks to be a clear win for Object Fungus, barring any late miracles for those behind him. And, well, in the chat we've got Nigel Piggle saying, we know what happened last time a Honda car needed a miracle. Well, will we see a late safety car here? It will definitely be to the advantage of those Honda-powered cars at the back of the field at the moment. But no safety cars as of yet. We have got a yellow flag out in Sector 3. And I think Brad Mason's just lost the back end of the car and is back into the pit lane then and retiring from the race. Big shame from him today, Brad Mason, TJ, but he's shown some early glimpse of some promise, especially in qualifying. And do you think he'll be able to challenge this season in terms of the championship for both drivers and constructors?
Yeah, I think so. He's shown fantastic pace. Obviously had a few moments where he lost his full front wing, etc. But he's definitely shown he's got the pace, and definitely shouldn't be disappointed in. No doubt he'll be back stronger next week.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, next week's race in Canada for Division 1 next Monday. So 2 very different tracks we'll see between here and now. So I think we might see a little bit more of a jumbled up order.
I'm sorry to jump in, but Hankers decided to come in the pits.
Yeah, so's Hoonigan as well, interestingly enough. So Hoonigan into the pit lane as well. Must have picked up some kind of damage. Let's see if the Haas team choose to change that front wing then as he pulls into his pit box. And there isn't a change of front wing, interestingly enough. It's just another set of soft tyres then. They're only 4 lap old, those tyres, TJ. That's a strange move from Hoonigan's coming to the pits there.
That doesn't surprise me, given that we've seen the medium tyres drop off to about lap 12. I think, yeah, he perhaps could have got the soft a couple more laps, but maybe he's protecting himself and knowing that he's got at least 4 more laps to do, and perhaps he was risking the puncture territory.
Yeah, back out then into P12 and out of the points with a 6-second penalty. Hoonigan, so points for that Haas driver looking very unlikely at the moment. Tiddlewink then made a pass in for P2 as we were watching with Henkers there, but Tiddlewink and Magus are still fighting then. These hard tyres, TJ, we spoke about them coming back to the Alfa Romeo. It looked like they are doing that at this phase of the race.
Yeah, this is fantastic battling from these 2 drivers, and we've seen it all race, and they both respect each other when they go side by side, but Magus is not wanting to give the place off. But yeah, these hard tyres are definitely coming into their own as we've got a yellow flag in Sector 3, I think. One at Alpha always had an issue. But yeah, it's only a matter of time for Tiddlywink flies past Maggie using your thing.
Yeah, well, this is all now for position on track. Neither driver with a penalty at the moment. Then can Tiddlewink find a way to a shock P2 then and beat Matthews and then on those 12-lap old medium tyres, 4 to go in this race. And this really is the only fight on track at the moment. Premier though is coming up behind Henkers despite him being on the new soft tyres there. So Henkers taking a couple of laps to get those up to temperature as well. But Tiddlewink, surely here, TJ, is going to find a way through, but he has much less battery than Magusa at the moment. Would that be a factor in defending for Magusa?
Yeah, because especially now where where Tiddlewink's got DRS and he could use his battery. I mean, DRS is open. He's got 2% on his DRS. But he's not getting that extra boost he needs as well. So it's no wonder the Alfa Romeo driver struggling. He really needs to try and get his battery recharged if he wants to take that P2 from Magusa.
Yeah, and Magusa all the while isn't really using much of that ERS, and 35% in the tank at the moment. And Object Fungus is just about to lead us onto lap 26 of this 28-lap race. Has Magusa just done enough with that battery advantage to hold on? As I've just did a quick flick to Object Fungus, TJ, he's currently running with 100% ERS in the tank. 100% ERS.
I mean, that just proves how comfy he's got it. And yeah, he doesn't need to use any DRS and show the true pace he's got. What a comfy base the Mercedes drivers have.
Yep, I bet Shadows couldn't believe his luck when he pulled Object Fungus as his teammate in the driver draw yesterday. As Tiddlewink then, crucially, we just rode on board with it and gets a 3-second time penalty running across the middle of the S's there. How catastrophic will that be? Not only to his chances of finishing in P2, but now the podium lives looking to get within 3 seconds now. He's currently at that 3-second bubble, but can he now get within that gap and usurp Tiddlewink to the podium in general?
I think Liv's can. Tiddlewink needs to clear Magusa ideally by the end of this lap. But with no ERS again, I think Tiddlewink's chances of a podium has just blown out the window, that time penalty.
Yeah, leaves 3 seconds now exactly off the back of Tiddlewink. Then he'll know that all he has to do is get within that 3-second gap, of course, but avoiding penalties from himself nonetheless. But he knows now a podium is very much within reach from him, even if he can't do it on track. Then Tiddlewink knows he has to get ahead of Magusa here. Then as we're on the penultimate lap, Object Fungus 15 seconds out in front for Magusa, currently in P2 and looking pretty assured of a podium as it stands. Tiddlewink then P3 but carries that 3-second penalty and will have to try and get the gap to Livs, who's just got below that 3 seconds and looking for that podium today. And another driver, TJ, who drove a stellar race in P5 at the moment, Diamond Douchy. We haven't really spoke about him. He had a disappointing qualifying, but he's had a fantastic race so far to be getting some good points.
Yeah, fantastic from Diamond. He did say in the Twitch chat he can employ put laps together, and it's fantastic seeing challenging the sign Division 1. So yeah, fantastic country turn for the Alpine driver. As I'm on board of Tiddlewink, and he's been ever so silly with his DRS. He isn't letting it recharge. He just used it in short blast. And I don't know whether he's just trying to use it so he doesn't drop out the DRS of Magusa, but he's absolutely ruining his chances of a podium here as Livs now is closing that gap. It's a very fast rate, and I think at this point Tiddlewink knows he isn't going to be on the podium.
Yeah, Tiddlewink now knows his chances of a podium are vastly disappearing now following that penalty he got just a couple of laps ago, but he's pushing Magusa all along the road as Magusa gets a little bit sideways out of that left-hander there. Continues on though, but Tiddlewink though within a couple of attempts now. Will he look to make a move here? And Magusa sweeps across to the left to block any kind of opportunity up the inside there but surely it's too late now. With Livsen got about an 8/10 buffer before he falls out of that 3-second window. Maggies are just able to use that battery to defend. Even with Tiddlewink, though, he is going to go up the inside here. Tiddlewink got a little bit deep, gets the move done, a little bit skittish on exit, though. Maggies are looking to come back up the inside. Fantastic racing from these pair of Maggies, and they're back into P2 on the road, and that surely effectively kills any hopes, any slim hopes Tiddlewink had of getting a podium.
Yeah, it does. I think what we saw in turn one now is just pure frustration from Tiddlewink. He is obviously the quicker driver currently, but because the way he's using DRS, it's absolutely killing his chances that he had. And yeah, he just looked like he was late on the brakes, tried dive it, and overshot the corner, which then obviously affected his exit. If he battled down now, down DRS to Tiddlewink's out of DRS, Maggie's out of the DRS, but at this point, it doesn't matter. I think Maggie's can let Tiddlewink through, and he comfortably will be on this podium.
You know, Maggies didn't want to give up the move there, but looks like he thought the wiser and will let Tiddlewink have it on road. Then knowing that he'll get in on penalties, then Livs has done very well to close the gap here. Looks like he set 4 P3. But Object Fungus, as I said earlier, we barely spoke about it all race, across the line and takes the first ever competitive TTR win in Division 1. In Season 1, Round 1, what a drive from the Mercedes, man. It will be Tiddlewink who gets P2 on the road, but it's Maguser and Livs who'll end up on the podium 2 and 3 after Tiddlewink serves that 3-second penalty. Diamond Douche will be very impressed with his drive today. It's P5 for him in the Alpine. And it's his teammate who joins him in P6, and great showing from both Alpine drivers, and so you get some good points there. And it is Shadows who served the penalty to fall to P7. Henkers and John Uvain, who had the pace early on then, who looked like he was going to be somewhat challenging for the win, if not at least a podium, P9. And it's Prem who rounds out the top 10 then for Williams, ahead of AIM RX and Hoonigan TJ, who we said probably had the pace today really to challenge for the podium, but not the look in the race.
Yeah, it's a shame. I think Hoonigan got his strategy wrong. I think he should have stayed on them hard tyres under the safety car, not pit on the mediums. I think once he'd done that, it just ruined his race and the strategy, and he needed the safety car pulling back into it.
Yep, indeed, as we will see the game giving driver of the day to Mag User. TJ will cut across to you very shortly then after the podium to get your driver of the day as co-commentator, of course. But I think this is a sight we'll get used to seeing in TTL. It is then Object Fungus winning the opening race in Division 1. I think a lot of people knew this might have been the case. But another dominant drive by this man that really, TJ, as we've said, is setting leagues alight on F1 2022.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, we personally saw his pace on F1 21. He dropped off a little bit towards the back end of it, but he's an absolute different beast on this game, and yeah, he just no one can stop him.
Yeah, definitely then. So it'll be interesting to see if Object Fungus can keep that dominance up then in future rounds. We've already run through the top 10, as we said. AIM RX, Hoonigan in 11th and 12th. It was Seneca who got P13 today, up from 18th on the grid. A decent drive from him. Revenge will be slightly disappointed to finish 14th and not in the points then for AlphaTauri today. Darthway Fox in P15. It's Sniz who gets P16. Brad Mason, Dan Hardy, Mini and Drobel all not finishing this race, as we will go out of this race direct to the TJ, which I hope you've got pictures of.
I have.
I tried to quickly get it there. I think, have you invited people to the party, TJ?
Yeah, we have. We have got Mag User and Object Fungus. Livs hasn't joined at the moment.
Right. Well, I wasn't expecting to do an interview, to be honest, but we'll go ahead, I guess.
Oh, okay.
That's all
Sorry.
right. I didn't think we were doing them, but they're here now. We may as well. We may as well make the most of their presence in the party, of course. So I don't think we're going to get Livs into the party, unfortunately. So TJ, if you want to interview, do you want to interview Mag User? I'll interview Object Fungus.
Yep, yeah, that's fine. So Mag User, congratulations on your P2. Maybe we'll talk about your quali first. In quali, it looked like it had a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't get the lap together, unfortunately, but I've been a bit rusty, so I haven't been playing for a while. But it's good to be back, and I've recovered it in the race quite nicely, actually.
Yeah, I did call you out spoiler drivers to watch before the race started. Obviously, we know your racecraft and what you can do. And yeah, you certainly disappoint. So suppose in the race, you started P15. You managed to avoid that incident in the first couple of corners, but were you anywhere near it? Did you pick any damage up from it?
I got a few bits of wing underneath my car, and it gave me a 5-second penalty. I don't know why, I didn't hit anyone. But yeah, it was just a case of avoid the carnage on that one and make my way slowly. I made a little bit of a gamble towards the end on the mediums, and they were falling off a cliff on like the last 3 laps, but it worked.
Yeah, I mean, you put a fantastic battle up against Tiddlewink. Both of you were respecting each other, and there was some brilliant side-by-side action that we caught. And yeah, as you say, that I called the mediums will be dropping off, but even with them dropping off, you were defending Tiddlewink all the way to the last lap. Do you think if Tiddlewink hadn't got that penalty, you could have defended a bit harder and tried to keep that P2? Or did you need Tiddlewink have that penalty?
Towards the end, I was trying not to get a puncher, to be honest, but I could have probably sent it down the inside a few more times, but probably would have lost it in the end.
No, that's great though. Congratulations on your P2, Mag User, fully deserved.
Yeah, congratulations, Mag User, on that P2 from me as well. And I think this is something, as I've already said, we're going to be saying a few times this season. Object Fungus, tonight's race winner in Division 1, the first ever race for TTL. Well, talk us through your qualifying pretty quickly. Q1 and Q2, you didn't set the timing boards alive, but did the sandbags come out for Q3?
Well, yes. Q1 was very messy. I messed up my first lap, and on my second one, I was just all over the place, having some very big snaps of oversteer. I was not really confident, to be fair. And in Q2, well, same set of tires, less fuel, so I set around the same lap, and was luckily able to go through. And then in Q3, very low fuel, fresh tires, so I think that's why I got set a very good lap, actually.
Yeah, it was. Oh, go on, carry on.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say it was a fantastic time in Q3. Of course, you took pole. I think it was by about 7/10s in the end. There wasn't really much competition for it, and then really in the race as well. You know, from start to finish, you drove most of the race pretty much clear out in front. It looked like we might have got a fight from John Uvain behind you until he had an issue. Was you concerned about the pace of John Uvain in the opening phases of the race?
Yeah, I was quite concerned actually, because the people behind me looked to have a very good race pace actually, and I was not feeling too confident with the car in the beginning. Had a lot of understeer and then oversteer assembly. Well, I took some time to get used to it, but people behind me were having a very good pace. It was very unfortunate that he spun in the end. Probably got a fight there. But yeah, also safety car mixed up things a bit. But in the end, it was a very nice race.
Yeah, it was a fantastic performance from yourself. And we saw you not really trying too hard. I think you had 100% ERS left with about 4 laps to go, given your dominance tonight. Obviously, we have to talk about the championship going forward. You must be feeling strong now, and it's on to Canada next week, of course. And is that a track you drove much on this game, and how confident are you feeling for that one?
I've not driven it too much this game, to be fair, but it's still one of the tracks that suit me pretty well, I think. So I'm looking forward for it.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a marker then to the other drivers in the league. They might need to find a bit more of an A game next week to beat you to another win then. But congratulations on your win today. And there is another order of business obviously to take care of, and that is the co-commentator's driver of the day today. TJ, if you want to give some light on who you think you're going to give that to.
Yeah, I mean, the driver picked, he had fantastic battles on track, even though he had a poor qualifying. I mean, I don't like to agree with the game, personally, but I think it's got to go to Magusa. Starting P15, finishing P2, had some fantastic battles on track with Tiddlewink, and yeah, fully deserved in my opinion.
Yep, couldn't agree more with that one. Great drive from Magusa to recover that qualifying. So fantastic P2. And today's co-commentator's driver of the day then. That's all we got time for tonight. It has been an absolutely fantastic race we were treated to, really. Some brilliant battles, brilliant close racing on the grid. We are back tomorrow, however. It is the Division 2's turn around the Circuit of Americas. That one gets underway at 8 p.m. UK time once again. And obviously you can watch it here on twitch.tv/TTL Racing F1. Our league partners, URC, have got their round 10 this week on Friday. That's round 10 of their season 3. Then around Hungary, and that starts at 7:30 UK time. And of course, Fair Play Racing League get their round 9 underway of their 4th season at Canada. That's from Wednesday to Friday this week, same time as us at 8 p.m. UK. As I said, that's all we've got time for this evening. Please be sure to tune back in tomorrow, because if we get anything like the race we've had tonight, we're in for a fantastic race for Division 2. But until then, it's goodbye and see you then.